Hey there, Christy here with Automation on a Mission with your latest Tidbit Tuesday installment. And in this video, I want to talk about using countdown timers in your marketing strategy. And before we dive in, I want to share a little story of two comparative Small Business Saturday experiences that I essentially facilitated in my own business. So in 2023, my family was still living in Roanoke, Virginia, right around that Black Friday Small Business Saturday period. But I had been busy teaching all about how to maximize this opportunity. And so I really wanted to be a good role model and also, walk my talk in terms of let's execute a really amazing strategy. And so I pulled out all the stops. I had basically a special killer savings that went on from the evening of Thanksgiving all the way to midnight that following Sunday. That was the plan, at least, except that I was in the final stages of packing every single box of my life to stuff it into a moving truck and drive it across the country. And so what happened was I was overwhelmed. I was by myself, and I was putting all this stuff together, and literally I was just out of time and out of mental and emotional capacity to worry about it. And at the time, basically what I had was I had a page that said, these are all my special offers, take advantage of them. And then I literally got in a truck and I drove for 3 days. And while I was driving, the period had expired. That Monday after, I was on the road, somewhere between Virginia and Denver, Colorado, and I watched sales come in that were people were taking advantage of my Small Business Saturday offer days after the deal should have expired. But I didn't have the time, the energy, or the technology to automatically update the content when the program had ended. And so, did I celebrate people wanted to continue to work with me and buy from me? Absolutely. And I kicked myself because I just, I overspent my time and my resources. Insert 2024. It's 2025. Sorry. Insert 2025. So between the Small Business Saturday of 2023 and 2024, we implemented as a part of the system the ability to utilize countdown timers, not just to show when an offer ends or expires, but what happens when it expires and controlling what people have access to when that offer is no longer available. So even though I wasn't driving across the country, I very much enjoy my time with my family and my time off. And so I built my Small Business Saturday offer. My program was, beautiful. It was successful during that window. And when that Sunday night rolled around and that midnight clock hit midnight, that offer was no longer valid and people were directed to a completely different page as a part of my ecosystem. That's what countdown timers can do for you. So the distinction or the difference was, anybody who operated within that time period could get the deals. Anybody who operated outside of that timer or that offer weren't going to get those deals, and I didn't have to manually manage it. So how did I do it? So we're going to pop over into our marketing tab. And if you notice here, it still says new, and that should probably be going away here pretty soon. We have a section called countdown timers. And the cool thing about a countdown timer is not only is it a visual representation of when your special deal, whatever it is, expires, but you get to restrict access. And that's the thing I absolutely love. So you pick your template. And this, I'll be honest with you, I use the same one every single time because I just think this is so pretty. And notice it's not on brand, but don't worry because we can change that. So we're going to continue with our template. And I want to talk about these 3 different buttons, but before I do, let me put myself down there so I'm out of the way. So I set my date that the timer ends. So let's say it ends tomorrow. It's April 30th right now. I'm going to choose the time that my offer expires, and then I'm going to put where the link is active to. So let's say, for example, I'm going to Marketplace, and I think this still exists. OnAmission.com. Yep, okay, great. So we're going to use that link as our active timer, which means as long as the offer is good, this is the page they go to. And when the offer expires, this is where they go. And now I can style it so I've got it on brand in terms of colors, font, sizing, all that kind of good stuff. And this thing is ready to rock and roll. Now I got a couple of things to show you, a couple little nuances about this. So let's talk about these 3 buttons real quickly. So a fixed timer is anywhere from such and such date to such and such date, and it's done. A recurring timer is exactly that. How often do we want this offer to be made available? And then the final one, and this is probably my blows all the fancy stuff out the window, because a dynamic timer allows you to control when that timer starts for each individual person. So I'm going to give you a use case for that as well. So as a part of our introductory offer, our when we're going through the customer journey, we have our welcome, and we offer a stupid, crazy, no-brainer offer, and it's good for 2 days. And after those 2 days, the offer is no longer good. So if, let's say, for example, it's a $200 product, and I'm going to give it to you for $37, but you need to take advantage of it before this timer expires. And what makes it really impactful and powerful is when you get the email may not be the same as your neighbor and the person after that and the person after that. So you can build this into your marketing strategy so that you basically are giving that introductory offer to everybody who goes through that experience for the first time. And that's it. And you don't have to worry about, so this has nothing to do with, May 1st, 2025 or every Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. It's really about when do they hit that timer and then when does the timer expire. But the rules afterwards is essentially the same. We're still going to have an active link and an expired link. Okay? So now that we have this timer, you'll notice up here it says copy code. Now, here's one thing that I will say I've kind of struggled with this myself, is this code goes in your emails. So if you have emails that you want to go out, let's use the Small Business Saturday as an example. I sent, probably, 8 to 10 emails over the span of a 2-week period, announcing and then also sharing this is what's going to happen. Offer is expiring. This countdown timer goes in that email, and then the email knows exactly when the timer is no longer valid. So this link does not work as long as the timer is expired. On your sales pages, you're going to do something similar, but we're not going to use the countdown timer code. I have discovered that the code doesn't function super well in a sales page itself. But if you come into your actual page, and I just like to pick random ones. And we go to and I always have to, let's see, countdown timer, there we go. So if we put our countdown timer on it, it's going to do the same thing. So our countdown timer, let's say that this is my marketplace page and I want my countdown timer on there. We're going to say when it ends, and we're going to tell it where to go when that offer expires. So your page is getting the same results as your emails. So the thing that I want to point out here is that this is the page that goes in your countdown timer that goes in your emails, and this is the page that it goes to when it's expired. That goes in your countdown settings that also impacts what's going on in your emails. Okay? So whether you're using it for a recurring event or that fixed date, you have the technology to bring a countdown timer onto your sales pages, incorporating it into your emails. And actually, you know what? Let's just go above and beyond here for just a second, because I kind of skipped over something and I don't want to miss out on this opportunity to share this part. Okay, so we've got our countdown timer that we just created. We've got our fixed date and fixed time. We've got our code. So what do you do with the code? So I'm going to just, it says websites. I don't trust that, mainly because I've had problems. But again, it does the same thing. But I guess to that point, you could also use it for the dynamic timer. But for me, I just rely on the emails themselves. So I'm going to go into my email templates. I'm going to pick a random email, and I want to incorporate that code into my email. So I'm going to look for code, and I'm going to paste my code into the email. And the nice thing is that you actually get to preview it. Sometimes when you're putting code in, it doesn't preview in the actual email editor itself, but there would be an example of your email timer. And so remember, the website that stops working is linked to this countdown timer. So just something to sort of keep in mind. All right? As always, we're here to help. Let us know if you have any questions. Thanks so much.